yes, jobs, additional jobs, sorry. 100,000 additional jobs every year, new jobs. We graduate about 300,000 students from universities and vocational. So we have a deficit of about 200,000. There's a challenge. Now AI has made it into digital transformation and has made it into Industry 4.0, which means it is putting jobs at risk. There are different numbers. One recent report from the European Commission says it's putting 14 to 47% of the jobs at risk. I think in countries like Morocco and maybe the rest of Africa, we're probably closer to 47% because a lot of the jobs that we have through foreign direct investment are low-skilled jobs. So they're more exposed to being replaced by the robot in some sense. The good news is what? The good news is that this AI is making it to different disciplines and that it's accessible. So my most important message today is that the context, the conditions are such that, and I think it has been said earlier, our young people have interest, our nations have interest to have everybody exposed to AI. And it should not be scary. So Florida International, for example, is doing AI for doctors. Doctors who have never done computer science, but they are using now algorithms. Harvard is starting a humanities and AI department. So humanities is using this. Now, another interesting thing is that with these jobs changing and at risk and so on, the question is how do we immunize our young from the jobs that are at risk? And so for this, what we need, and this goes back to education, we need to make sure that they have technological literacy, and today it does not have to be computer science, but it is literacy enough to understand enough in order to use. Two, it is very important to have data literacy because it is becoming a lot of data-driven. And again, it should not scare us, it's doable, okay? The third one is human literacy, as in humanities, because whenever we include this component, the computer can never get close to human intelligence. So the jobs that have this added value will never be at risk by the computers. So for that reason, what is called liberal arts education in some parts of the world today is even more precious than in history because students trained with liberal arts education that combines these three things will never be threatened by the computer. Thank you, and my apologies because I have to leave.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for him, and that is Amin Ben Said, and he is the president of Al-Akwen University here in Morocco. All right, so let's go back to...
Oui, peut-être je vais un peu continuer dans... Je préfère parler en français parce que faut pas qu'on parle tous anglais. L'intelligence artificielle et l'emploi. C'est vrai qu'on a des estimations très différentes. Si vous prenez l'OCDE estime qu'il n'y a que 6% des emplois qui seraient perdus demain à cause de l'intelligence artificielle. Vous prenez McKinsey, il va vous parler de 50% des heures de travail. Donc, vous voyez que les estimations sont très larges. Très souvent, d'ailleurs, et c'est ça, là je retourne dans le travail statistique, quand on fait des prévisions, il y a ce qu'on appelle la critique de Sims. C'est-à-dire, si vous faites une projection en ne considérant que les comportements d'aujourd'hui, vous allez avoir une mauvaise prévision. Demain, l'humanité va s'adapter à l'intelligence artificielle, les méthodes de travail vont changer. Donc, c'est pour vous dire que tout ce qui est annoncé comme perte d'emploi, pour moi, ne va pas se produire. Il y aura des pertes d'emploi, mais il y aura beaucoup de création de nouveaux emplois, mais il y aura également des réadaptations. Maintenant, ça suppose que les sociétés qui doivent tirer leur épingle du jeu doivent se préparer dès à présent. Il faut que dans le système éducatif, qu'on anticipe ces transformations. Il ne faut pas attendre que ça se produise pour réagir, il faut commencer maintenant. Deuxième élément, vous avez posé une question tout à l'heure sur qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire pour les jeunes qui veulent se lancer dans l'intelligence artificielle. La première chose, c'est l'achat des licences. Aujourd'hui, en Afrique, vous allez dans tous les pays, vous allez trouver des jeunes qui font du codage, qui font des programmations, qui font de l'intelligence artificielle, mais souvent, ils n'utilisent pas des licences. Donc, comment les replacer dans la légalité et les accompagner? Souvent, une licence coûte cher aussi par an. Donc, l'État pourrait aider déjà ces jeunes à acheter les licences tous les ans. Ça, ce serait une première action. Deuxième action, c'est l'incubation. Ça a commencé aussi dans un certain nombre de pays. Il faut offrir aux jeunes qui se lancent dans l'aventure des opportunités d'incubation pour pouvoir les accompagner pendant 1 an, 2 ans. Troisièmement, c'est le financement. Là, il y a des business angels qui prennent des participations. Il faut les encourager, leur donner des incitations fiscales. Beaucoup de pays ont commencé par faire ce qu'on appelle des Startup Acts. Il faut généraliser ces Startup Acts qui permettent donc d'encadrer les incitations que l'État ferait pour ces jeunes innovants. Et donc voilà un certain nombre de choses qu'il faut faire. Ensuite, il faut que dans les écoles, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, qu'on ait des modules, qu'on ait des spécialisations en intelligence artificielle. Ne vous en faites pas si ce qu'on appelle les GAFAMI, c'est-à-dire les Google, Facebook, Microsoft se tournent juste vers l'Afrique. Ils savent que l'avenir est ici parce que les jeunes, demain, seront en Afrique. Donc, c'est ces jeunes-là qui vont occuper demain les emplois qui concernent l'intelligence artificielle. En tout cas, c'est eux qui seront ceux qui vont faire les modules.
Merci beaucoup. Great. Let me come to you.
Okay, so thanks very much. Wants to join the president when he said he wants to start with some bad news before the good news. The effects of AI is similar with other technologies. In the banking sector, when banks begin to automate, that is, they use computers, they use ATMs, we saw the effects. It meant that they reduced the number of employees in the banking halls. Recently, I met a friend from South Africa who told me that immediately the banks adopted internet applications, other artificial ATMs and the rest, mobile banking and the rest, over 300,000 people lost jobs because it got to the point that you don't have to go to the bank to do a transaction, you can do it on your phone. So the teller who used to be in the bank has lost his or her job. So AI is going to cause some level of unemployment in the system. So let's prepare for that. The second part is the good news. Okay. What would AI do for us? In Ghana, for example, the government of Ghana recently launched drones to deliver blood to communities, to areas where blood was needed, they were remote. Okay, so the justification for such a project was the fact that people died as a result of lack of blood at certain hospitals. Now, these drones, being able to identify the specific hospital or community and get the blood to that community is AI, so that is good. So as a youth, going forward, what do we need to do? Whichever discipline you are learning now, because you're already in the program, it is important that you begin, like I mentioned earlier, YouTube is free. Go to YouTube, watch some videos, understand how these things are done, and then look at how you can contribute. There's a new area of business coming up on the internet. It started on YouTube, now on Facebook. There's a comedian from Nigeria, Emanuela, a young lady. It has a lot of following now. You know, when you go to YouTube and watch, they make a lot of money. Now it's moved to Facebook. So like he mentioned, many of our people are not yet too familiar with the regulations with regards to copyrights and the rest. Maybe if we begin to let them own some of the pages they do, some people I know might not be making money from them. They just feel that also known globally, I make some fun. No, they can make money from such processes. And governance, like you mentioned, the challenge with governance and AI is the fact that governments think that people can easily organize themselves with the help of what? AI. So whatever they do, they are afraid of the possibility of the youth or citizenry using AI against them. So it is important that we convince them that beyond some of the challenges or problems associated with the deployment of AI, there are 1,001 benefits that we can make from AI. You mentioned agric, okay? So testing soil, checking the climate, getting feedback as to whether this particular product or crop will do well here, do better there. AI is sorting that out for people. So, like the computer scientists mentioned, it's just about data and the speed at which you get information. So gone are the days like we used to do DNA test, or you wanted to test your blood group, or you wanted to check whether you had a particular cancer, or you were prone to a particular disease in the coming years. You had to undergo a lot of tests. These days, with the support of AI, the data they get from you, they can run these within a short period and let you have it. So as young people in Africa, we can't. I make this argument. If you are less than 20 years or you are less than 30 years, it means that you have 40 years of working life. Please go and learn something about AI, big data, blockchain, machine learning. Add it to your specific field. Or else, in the earlier panel, they mentioned a projection that the average African will change 14 jobs. In the course of your job changing, at some point, you will be unemployed.